Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Dave, and I make videos about tech geared towards developers and coding. Just last week, I got my hands on a new MacBook Pro, 14-inch M3 Pro, and today I'm excited to dive into how it fares for both general users and developers. First, to give you some context, I'm currently an Android developer for a tech company, and I've been working there for about 3 years, and I've been using the MacBook Pro 16-inch Intel model. And I must say, it's a piece of Not only is it slow, it takes forever to compile or even build a project. It's super loud and gives off so much heat. And I think it's just trying to find my AC unit to control the temperature. This machine has been making me hate coding, and I decided, I want to spark up some creativity and passion for coding by getting myself the MacBook Pro 14-inch M3 Pro, and just to relearn a bunch of stuff and start some personal projects. So far, I like what I see, but I guess that's usually the case when you're coming from something pretty bad to something decent. I haven't really gotten a chance to code on it yet, but I did edit this video on it, and I think it's doing a relatively good job so far. If you're watching this video because you can't decide if you should get yourself one of these machines, I'm here to give you some recommendations based on personal experience. I'm not going to go over the Cinebench and all the specs. And there's tons of videos out there about that. You could even search it on Google. If you're a brand new developer or someone that wants to just kind of dabble into coding, I wouldn't really say go ahead and drop a couple grand on getting the best spec'd out MacBook Pro you could get. I mean, I was rocking a Gen 1 MacBook Air from 2009 when I first started to learn how to code. And although it was pretty slow, it still got the job done, and I was able to land my first job as a dev. So if I were in your shoes, I'd look at either the M1 or the M2 MacBook Air or the Pro, just to save some money. Between the MacBook Pro M1 and M2, I believe there's a very slight speed difference. I did see someone benchmarking the M2 MacBook Air with the M2 MacBook Pro, and there was very minimal difference in terms of compiling times. So, they run great. And if you did have to choose between the two, but you had a specific budget, I'd go with whichever laptop could give you the 16 gigs of RAM, just because compiling code or building projects does require decent memory. Now, side note, if you did make it here, for the next couple of videos, I'm going to start an educational series where I go back to the basics of Android development, but with a twist. So we're going to learn how to code. Since I realized every video out there doesn't really do that, so it's pretty exciting. I realized that a lot of people that are teaching coding show you how to do it and expect you to learn how to do it. But I want to dig into some of the core aspects of learning and use that idea of learning into learning coding. So this way you will have a better time, hopefully, but we'll go back on topic. So if you're an established developer that wants to do some side projects or dabble in some other hobbies, I highly recommend this laptop. But honestly, I was just looking at a refurbished M1 and M2 MacBook before I went with this one. Best Buy was having a pretty big sale, and the price difference between a MacBook Pro M2 Pro versus the M3 Pro was about $100. I figured going with M3 Pro was the better move. You get everything you need with 18 gigs of RAM, but I did find that a larger SSD does improve speeds, so you can decide on that. Between the M2 Pro and the M3 Pro, they're pretty much identical in the physical aspect. I think the only difference is a slight increase in speed, very minimal. So if you can find an older model for way cheaper, I'd say go for it. As a general user or a student, typically you would browse the web, write some emails, watch YouTube or Netflix, just very general usage. I'd highly recommend sticking with a refurbished MacBook Air. If you want something newer, I'd say the new MacBook Air, the M3. Basically any of the M chips works. And I would stick with the lowest RAM, probably 8 gigs of RAM. So MKBHD did expose Apple. So Apple does this trick where they make you think, oh, just spend an extra $200 for this upgrade. But if you spend another 100, just another 100, you could get a different and better model and so on. save your money and opt for the cheaper model and put the rest of that into like a mutual bond or something that works for you. Going back to the beginning of this video when I mentioned that I use an Intel-based MacBook Pro, even for a general user, I say don't do it. You know, you're gonna burn your lap regardless of what you use it for. If it's just simple browsing, you're gonna burn your wrist when you're on the keyboard. So to wrap things up, if you are thinking about upgrading from a MacBook Pro Intel-based, or if you're an established developer that needs a new MacBook, yes, I highly recommend getting the M3 Pro. Now, if you are someone who wants to learn how to code, I'd recommend getting any of them, you know, but I'd stick with either the M1 or the M2 just to save you some money, regardless of Air or Pro. If you are a general user, I'd recommend any of the M series of the MacBook Airs specifically. Thanks for watching. If you found this review helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're planning on learning how to code or just want some refreshers, don't forget to subscribe for more coding and tech content. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or what you'd like to see next. I'll see you in the next video.